TV. I am not black.
This consciousness that we experience when Kundalini is in our head is known as Christ consciousness. We were all designed to be Christed. The Egyptians referred to this Kundalini energy as Uraeus, and they referred to this Christ consciousness state as Heru beheaded. When the energy of Kundalini gets into the head, you re-access the promised land, and it shuts off the temptations of the lower self. And that's why, Heru beheaded, you're now in the head. You now have complete control. Heru beheaded means like you're not actually cutting your head off. It's that the energy is now in your head, which is basically like the spaceship, and now it controls everything. It's not being controlled or influenced by what's beneath. I hope that makes sense. Now, I've talked about Heru beheaded, and I've gone into great detail in the past about it, so I'm not going to get detailed in this video. I just want to say, ladies and gentlemen, that Christ is a state of consciousness that we were all designed to experience. But when the fall actually happened, we fell into hell, which is the Christ consciousness, the holy angel falling down the spine into the pelvic floor. The pelvic floor is hell. And because the Kundalini is asleep at the pelvic floor, we no longer experience Christ consciousness. We no longer have access to the true Christ energy, and we operate in hell. Heaven is the head, hell is the pelvic floor. The Kundalini energy, which is the life force energy of humanity, is currently asleep in hell at the pelvic floor. And because of that, we experience hell on earth. This realm is hell. The Gnostics will tell you that. A handful of ancient traditions would agree with me when I say that this realm is hell. This is the underworld, this is purgatory. And it's purgatory, it's the underworld, it's hell, because we no longer have connection to the Christ, which is the Kundalini. The Kundalini, the Christ energy, the Horus energy, when it flies up or moves up the cerebral spinal system, the stairway of heaven, it gets into the head. And when it gets into the head, you re-access the pearly gates of the promised land. You re-stimulate the king and the queen's chamber. And now you know God directly. This is why there's some truth in the biblical passage of through Christ you know God, or only through the Son of God do you know God. Only through Christ do you know God. Christ, which is Kundalini, tethers your consciousness once it gets into the head to God, the true living God, the hidden God. The Antichrist is a false version of Christ that the churches promote, that hoodwinks you into worshiping a fictitious entity instead of going within to try to communicate with Christ, which is your Kundalini energy. I hope that makes sense. It's such a complicated subject. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night and I'm exhausted, so bear with me. They've got people worshiping at the feet of a man nailed to a cross.
I can't help but ask myself daily, what the fuck is actually going on here? I have witnessed so many radical changes to this world in the 32 years that I have been here, most of them sadly drenched in evil. The enemy is busy building its empire, a dystopia built upon the ashes of a free world forgotten. AI, surveilled, digitized, genocide, scorched earth, hive mind, drone. We are being led by demons, masquerading as our saviors. An iniquitous oligarchy composed largely, but not entirely, of an elite class of psychopathic technocrats, eugenicists, behavioral psychologists, etc. Operating entirely through subterfuge, this consortium of evil has created a most genius veil of camouflage, enabling them to quite literally pose as a knight in shining armor coalition of humanity's saviors, promising to liberate the masses from the very afflictions that this inner circle of evil gave birth to. Ephesians 6:12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places.
Raw TV. I am not black.